Alright guys, you know what time it is. It's time to talk the biggest movie of 2017, Star Wars The Last Jedi. I have a quick, non-spoiler review. Stay tuned. Alright guys, back here. We saw Star Wars The Last Jedi a few hours ago, and I'm here to give you guys a quick review. Real quick, there's going to be no spoilers in this. We're going to do a full review with Phenom later on this week. That'll probably be out on Wednesday, and then next week we'll put out our spoiler review. Just to let you guys know, there are going to be a shit ton of spoilers coming forward with this movie. So if you're on social media and you can block Star Wars The Last Jedi, or anything like that, I would go ahead and do that right now, because there's going to be a lot of assholes out here who aren't as nice as I am, who won't like avoid spoilers. And you definitely kind of want to go into this movie really, really fresh, and you don't want to have any of those things spoiled for you. So I would definitely try to, as hard as you can, avoid spoilers. Of course, the best way to do that is probably to see the movie as quick as possible, but if you're listening to this and you are a diehard Star Wars fan, I know you probably already have your tickets for this movie, so you're probably already good for that. But like I said, go ahead and make sure you subscribe. Like I said, our non-spoiler review will be up later on this week, full review. And but let's get right into it with my little quick review here with this movie. So let's get started. So let's talk sound first with this, because it's probably the easiest thing to talk about with Star Wars. Is there a better moment when you're in the theater than when you see the Lucasfilm logo and there's that 1 to 2 seconds of silence, then all of a sudden the Star Wars logo pops up and you hear the Star Wars theme? I can't think of a better moment. That's the moment, and it stays with you throughout the entire film. Like, yes, the themes have changed from movie to movie. Jon Williams added some new stuff in for The Force Awakens, but it also feels very familiar, and it's that familiar but different feel that really sets the tone for The Last Jedi, and pretty much with all these films. Like, you know, and recognize these themes. You know what's gonna. You kind of feel that something's about to happen with this scene because of that music, and that's what it is with this this film too. I mean, it's not a lot to say here because it's pretty much what you've heard before, but it's still different enough and still classic enough that it sends chills down your spine. So, you know, I bought The Force Awakens on vinyl. I will probably buy The Last Jedi on vinyl as well when they get it released, because like I said, it's familiar but different, but it's Star Wars. What can I say about it, you know? So that's pretty much it with the sound. Like, again, you know what you're gonna get with this. Much like with the sound, visuals are also pretty much the same. Again, with sound and visuals, you know what you're getting. It's Star Wars. Like, that's enough. You've seen the trailers, you've seen the visuals from there. Again, it's familiar but better and bigger. There's a couple of ships that show up in this film. One in particular that's new, but like when you see it, you're like, okay, that looks like Star Wars, but it's bigger and badder and different, and holy shit, I'm terrified of it. Like, there's a lot of that in this film, and it just feels well. And overall, like, from the creature designs, you've seen the creatures, you've seen the character designs, I even like the way that the lightsabers look. I mean, there's a more like aggressive feel to all the lightsabers, even Rey's, you know, the blue lightsaber. Like, it feels different. It's familiar, but it feels different, and it looks, the way it looks, the way it sounds. Like I said, like, you know what you're getting with it. If you like what the visuals were and I know you did, because you're gonna go see the film. If you like the visuals in the trailer, you're gonna like them in this movie here. Like, the visuals in this film are so good that there were times when, like, something seemed off with the visuals in the theater we were in, and I realized what it was is this film was so good that it is going to tax your regular theater's projector, and screens, and it will expose them for not being up to standard. So I highly recommend you go to the best theaters in your town if you can to see this film. I'm going again on Sunday to see it at a big IMAX theater down in DC because I know those theaters are, those screens are just amazing. And if you can find a real IMAX theater by you, and you can afford that ticket, I highly recommend you go and see it. We did not see it in 3D, but I've seen the other Star Wars in 3D when they were available, and yeah, it's good enough, especially in IMAX. It's good enough, so you'll enjoy it. So again, it's Star Wars. I mean, you know what the visuals you're gonna get. You've seen the last two films. There you have it. I mean, it looks amazing, and I gotta say that just what Ryan, like all the films. So we've had 3 films now with 3 different directors, and each director puts their own little feel on it. And Rian Johnson's is different from J.J. Abrams, who and you can tell, but at the same time, you can't tell, so that it's not such a drastic change that it really stands out to you. So yeah, it's again, biggest thing here is Star Wars. You know what it is. All right, let's get into the big thing here, and that's the story. So in one of the trailers, Luke says, "This is not going to go the way you think." And that line pretty much sums up the story in The Last Jedi. First of all, as usual, the trailers for this film, much like The Force Awakens and some other films, were cut purposely to mislead you as far as the story goes. If you're trying to pick things off of what happened in the trailer, you're going to be wrong. Personally, I like that, but I think it's important for people who have built these whole storylines in their heads off of the very little we've seen in the trailers. So try to wipe that from your mind before going in. Go in with a clean slate. I avoided most of the speculation and rumors about this film going in, so I entered pretty fresh. But even then, I found myself thinking I knew how the story was going to go, while watching this film several times, only to be proven wrong. It's pretty obvious to me that the whole plan with this trilogy was to play on what fans thought they knew, and twist it and turn it around a bit, so you don't know really what's going on. Another moment for the trailer is when Kylo says, "Let the past die." And again, it's a really good description metaphorically with this film. Being the middle film in this trilogy, The Last Jedi feels like it's making this clean break from the originals. It's killing what you think you knew from the past and starting new. One of the nitpicks I know of from The Force Awakens for some people was that it felt too much like a rehash of the original trilogy. And while I get that point, I think folks that make that argument ignore a lot of the subtle differences, and those subtle differences widen in The Last Jedi. This film is very, very, very aware of how active and vigilant the fan base is, and I feel like Rian Johnson really uses that against us. The opening of the film will get you to feel like a very similar vibe to the opening of The Empire Strikes Back. It's going to get you in that mindset. I know I was. But as the film goes on, you start to notice how vastly different it is. Take Luke training Rey, and this isn't a spoiler since we saw it at the end of The Force Awakens and we saw him training her in the trailer. On the surface, you could draw a parallel to Yoda training Luke in Empire Strikes Back, and that's about where it ends though. The motivations and interactions between Rey and Luke are very much different from Yoda and Luke. And there are definitely some throwback moments in there. And look, seeing Master Luke be the cranky Jedi Master who gets exasperated with young, wide-eyed Rey is great. Mark Hamill is actually, there's some really funny moments with him as being the cranky Master. So you're going to like that, and I think that it's different. Like, you're going to get that, like, I had that feeling being in the film going, oh man, it kind of feels a little bit too much like Empire Strikes Back, but then all of a sudden it starts changing on you, and you start realizing it's very, very, very different from Empire Strikes Back. But they use your knowledge of that and you thinking you know how things are going to go. And by doing that, you're going in and you're going to be pleasantly surprised by some of the things that happen in this. And I think you're really going to like that stuff. So, yeah, just don't try to go in with an open mind. If you don't, that's fine, but you're going to probably be wrong on a lot of your fan theories. So, keep that in mind. So if you were one of those salty dude bros that didn't like the focus on female characters in The Force Awakens, hate to break it to you, but The Last Jedi doubles and triple downs on that a lot. A lot of the men get put in their place in this film, And that's not just limited to the First Order. There's a few significant scenes where women have to show why they're in charge. And personally, I think they're awesome, and I can't wait for Salty Dubros to be really upset about it. Laura Dern does an awesome job as Vice Admiral Holdo, and she bumps head with the brash Poe, and let's just say Poe learns a couple lessons that he might not have, I love that. I love their interactions, and it's one of those things that, as a fan, like, Poe was a huge hero in the last movie, and so to see Poe get kind of put in his place a couple times in this movie, it felt good. But he needed that role, and with everything going on in Hollywood right now, I feel like it is perfectly timed, and I can't wait for like I said, I love seeing Salty Dubros be upset, and I can't wait for them to be upset about this because fuck them, right? Who cares? Carrie Fisher is Carrie Fisher, and that should be all we need. But this film does have some surprises as far as Leia is concerned. I'm gonna tell you right now, you probably aren't gonna know what they are. So if you think you're able to parse out what I'm saying into what the spoilers are, you're not gonna know. I'll save talking about Leia more on some other reviews and on our spoiler reviews. But just know that if you are a fan of Leia and Carrie Fisher, you are definitely going to love her in this movie. She is great. So, yeah. I'm not going to say anything more about that. So, Kelly Marie Tran's character, Rose, is a welcome addition. I'll be honest, I wasn't prepared for how large of a role her character would play in this film. And it was very welcomed. Having a woman of color play a significant role in a Star Wars film really means a lot. Usually these are, smaller roles, especially for side characters, but she has a pretty large role in this. And it matters that there's a lot of diversity filling out the Rebels in both speaking and non-speaking background roles. And it matters. There can always be more, but between this and Star Trek Discovery, embracing, Star Trek Discovery has so much diversity, in everything they're doing. And embracing diversity so full-throated, it just feels good. So, as a person of color, I enjoy seeing ourselves on the screen. And I think it's definitely a welcome addition to Star Wars. And I think they definitely heard what some fans said at the end of Force Awakens, saying that, hey, we like the diversity, we like the fact we have Rey here, but we want more. And Rian Johnson and really shout out to Kathleen Kennedy as well, really move forward to make sure that happened. So I think that's a welcome addition. I think people are going to really enjoy that too as well. So with the returning characters, I think, again, Finn and Rey are in a really unique place with this film because I don't think it's too much of a spoiler, but like they are pretty much separated from most of this film, and they have their own tracks. Like, I think that's a really good thing this film does is it has several different storylines going that they all do eventually converge, but it doesn't feel overly stuffed. It doesn't feel like everybody doesn't get their own time. Like Finn gets his own gets some of his own time and his own storyline going on with him. You have the other stuff going on with some of the Resistance. And then you have what's going on with Rey, and actually also Kylo as well. And it works. Like they do a really good job of giving everybody their own space and allows them to interact. And I think it's very important because in The Force Awakens, Rey and Finn spent so much time together. So it was, it could be kind of worried to see, okay, well, if you split up John Boyega and Daisy Ridley, how well do they work apart from each other? And the answer is pretty well. I mean, they take to the characters you put them by, and it does a really a good job. On the Rey side, you really do get way more of what's going on with her and Kylo. You do find out who her parents are, and I'm going to be really interested in seeing how people react to this. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be. I'll leave it there. At least we're told who. There's a conversation about who her parents are, and whether you want to believe it or not, we'll see. But I tend to believe it, and I actually think it's a good thing. But we'll see, because I know a lot of people put a lot of effort into trying to explain who Rey's parents are, and so it'll be interesting seeing who came out right and who came out wrong on that end. But I do think that the big thing with Rey in this film is her journey with Kylo, and I'll just say that it is how I know this film was a diverging point from anything in the original trilogy. You are not going to know which way these things are going to go. And I like that feeling. Like, I didn't know how it was going to end. And with all the speculation coming around these characters, you know, was Luke evil? Was Kylo good? What was going on here? Like, a lot of that stuff comes out in this film, and yeah, you like, if you think you know, you don't really know. So, and again, personally, I like that feeling. I like that feeling of going to a film that's familiar to me and still feeling surprised. And you're gonna get that a lot with these characters. And I think that if you're waiting to, here's the thing about this film: it's The Last Jedi. It's Star Wars. It's going to be the biggest film of the year. You don't need my review. You didn't need anybody else's review to see if you're going to go see this film. You know you were going to go see it anyway, right? And the bottom line is, this film is fantastic. Could I nitpick it and find some other things in here? Yeah, sure, I could. But the truth of the matter is, it would just be me being greedy. Like, honestly, I would literally be being greedy for adding for extra stuff. And that's just because, I mean, I think the film was so great. I think there's a reason why Rian Johnson, before this film was even given out, was handed the reins to the next trilogy already. And I think it's because this film here is fantastic. It is amazing. It is... Here's the thing. I feel like since Disney bought Lucasfilm, they put the two films out with The Force Awakens and Rogue One, I feel like these have been the best Star Wars films we've ever seen. And that goes beyond just the visuals. It's everything. The acting, the story. I think everything feels more natural, and it feels like you're understanding it. Like, there are scenes in this film that kind of go more into expanding the world of Star Wars. You start, like, there's a planet you go to at one point that is tied to Rose's character. Well, not really tied to Rose's character, but Rose talks more about this planet, and it makes sense. It kind of ties into our society today, and you start thinking about it, and you're like, oh yeah, that does kind of make sense, that these people would be here. And it's a really relevant film. It's a really relevant scene, and you feel that way. There's I said before, the Dude Bros might be salty about this film, and it's because, well, literally, the female characters in this film are fantastic. They're the one that leads the way. There's several times when the men are either mansplaining, or they're not listening, or they're going their own way, and they need to be taught a lesson, and it's the women that do it. And I think that's the important thing, and the difference between this Star Wars and anything else. It feels so much better. It's like, it feels like it's more aware, it's more connected to our society. And I just don't see, like, honestly, this is one of the things that if you don't like this movie, I have to seriously question, what kind of films do you like? Like, I don't know. So there you guys have it, guys. Again, you already knew you were going to see this film. Like, if you're watching this right now and you somehow don't have your tickets already for The Last Jedi, I'm seriously questioning you. So you already knew you were going to go see this film. And I'm here to tell you, it's well worth the money. Like I said, I already have my tickets again for Sunday. Hell, I might sneak in there and see it again sometime before then. It's that good. It really is. Can't say enough about this film. You're going to want to check it out. Make sure you subscribe to us. Like I said, our full, again, non-spoiler review will be out hopefully on Wednesday, and then later next week. If you're a premium member on our site, go to mtrnetwork.net. You can sign up for premium, and you can get our spoiler review, and I'll have several people on there for that. And I can't wait to talk about this film. It's gonna be great. I'm really excited about episode 9 now, because the way 8 ends, I really feel like that'll be the film that's completely different from anything we've seen before. Like, about middle way of 8, you really start getting a separation from anything we've done before. And I really think 9 is going to be something special. And then, God forbid, we get into that next trilogy that's completely separated from everything else. There's so much potential here. Like, this is going to be something great. The only thing I have to say there is, hey, listen, Disney, I know you're doing your streaming service. If you do that streaming service and you're bringing that Star Wars live-action TV show, hey, you know, make it a black woman as a lead. Hey, it worked for Star Trek Discovery. Do it for Star Wars, you know, and let's see what happens. Like, I'm really excited about going forward with this. It's really great. Star Wars, biggest franchise right now. So get out of his way, guys. If if you have a movie that's coming out sometime near a Star Wars film, might want to move that because it's not going to work. So, again, folks, thank you guys very much for listening and watching here. Stay tuned for our channel and see what else we got coming out. Thank you guys. Peace.